He's made us all dance and bob our heads. Give it up for the one, the only Diplo, ladies and gentlemen. And from the iconic band, The Clash, but not only that, Bad, Big Audio Dynamite, a musical collective of the good, the bad, and the queen. Give it up for Mick. Give it up for Paul, ladies and gentlemen. And Jeff's going to join us too. Now, Frank couldn't be here because of scheduling challenges, but nevertheless, we got these guys here. First, Diplo and I spoke a few times before. I considered you a friend. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, we are.
That's all right? Okay, great, good. Mick and Paul, I'd like to become your friend. I just got to tell you this quick story. When I was growing up in Northern California, in the Bay Area, there was a community station called K-Pool, and I grew up in Oakland. I used to listen on a little transistor radio for just new music. You know, we had a station called KDIA that played primarily soul, but the community station played every genre, and most of the music that was played was rebellious, and it kind of spoke to me at a young age. And they used to mix Spoonie G, or Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, or groups like Sequence or Treacherous 3 with The Clash, you know, and I didn't understand how to hear it at that time. And I went, this is a quick personal story, I gotta get this out, that's why I'm here. And as I grew up, I wanted to be an artist, and I went to record in a studio, the same studio that Green Day recorded in early on. I went to work for that studio, and there was an engineer by the name of Andro who had owned this studio called The Art of Ears. And he was questioning us about what kind of music you like, what kind of music you don't really go to. I said, well, I don't really get punk rock. He said, you don't get punk rock, why not? I said, well, it's not hip hop. He said, I beg to differ. Punk rock is hip hop. Hip hop is punk rock. I said, why do you say that? He said, I'm gonna play you these two songs. One of the songs he played for me was White Riot. And I listened to the lyrics of that song, and then I wrote them out, and through those lyrics I was able to identify more with punk rock. And then he played the song, The Magnificent Seven, you know, and I was like, man, these dudes are just rapping. It's no different from us. They talking about the same issues we have. And then from that point on, it was through your music that I was able to open up my ears and hear music differently and understand that there's these common denominators in all music. And I thought this pairing was great, as well as with Frank Ocean, is because Diplo, you in a sense, when you first came out, we really couldn't put you in a category. You know, people didn't understand, you know, how do we classify this guy? You know, he works with all different sorts of sounds and all different sorts of artists. How do we classify these guys? So this seemed like a perfect combination. This isn't the first time you guys worked together on Hero, correct?
Well, we met in real life through this song, but I had sampled one of their records before. Probably one of the biggest productions I've done was for MIA. It's called Paper Planes, and I sampled Straight to Hell by these guys. So we definitely knew each other through our lawyers, I guess, back then. But no, it was amazing. They had heard about me through that. I think when you're saying it's hard to classify what I do as a producer, as a songwriter, I think that we both have like that reckless abandonment where we just do whatever we want. And I think we don't really look at any rules, and we have successes and failures. And like you were saying, you could listen to a record like Magnificent Seven on a hip hop station because you have records like Rockberry Jam, and like the Bay had that. It was like a funk record basically. And I think these guys are always pioneers in the sonics of the way music sounded. And I think that in one way the message was punk rock, but the way the attitude towards making music was even more in that same punk ethics. And I think that's why we have a similar attitude because of that.
Were you guys excited about meeting him in person after he made you so much money sampling your music?
Very much. I think that I actually think that hip hop was the same as punk rock. You know what I mean? That was when we had punk rock, that was like music of the streets when it started, and so was hip hop when it started. And I can see a direct, comparison there. But it's interesting what you said at the start. You said, I don't get it, because same with reggae. Like at the first, when punk just came out, and they said to Bob Marley, "What do you think of punk?" And he was like, "I know, I don't don't get it. And then there was what Lee Perry was producing him, and he was producing us for a Complete Control very early on. And he sort of went back and sort of said, look, you know, these guys are the same as you. And then later on, very soon after that, like Bob Marley wrote Punky Reggae Party, you know what I mean? Because he realised, he reconsidered. And it was actually the same, once again, there was like similarities.
You know, you guys coming from, you know, such different places obviously have a lot in common, but you obviously work differently too. You guys bring years of experience of working and doing collaborations with many people, and you've been fortunate enough to do the same in recent years. What was the process like in the studio for you guys? What was the first day?
Well, for us it was sort of interesting to see Wes at work, because obviously technology makes a big difference to how you can approach making music. For us it was sort of a new sort of interesting to see how far it's come, really, especially for Mick, because Mick's done a lot of work in as a producer, and it seemed a lot faster. Like you could throw ideas down a lot quicker and shuffle them around and then come to a conclusion. So we learnt a lot just by that experience of watching
like
him at work.
Our experience in the modern world. We try it out, we see how it was, and it was very fast.
It's quick, huh? What did it smell like?
Well, you know, if your sneakers get old, it's best to be said you put them in the freezer, and then they come out fresh and crispy.
Yeah, but your food tastes awful though.
It's also good for getting rid of moths. You know?
You put it in the freezer, okay? That's great. So I can tell you were learning so much every day, right?
Yeah, I learned about my freezers and.
But I'm curious to, like, what was the first chord hit? Like, what was the first key played? Or
I think we actually did a bunch of music together. We probably made 5 tracks, and I think we're just vibing. We have a lot of similar backgrounds, and you know, like I said, just in the way we didn't have any like genres that we adhere to, but these guys had a background in reggae music too. I do a lot of stuff in reggae as well. And I think that we just had a lot of time communicating and talking, and then I think we made 4 or 5 ideas, and we, over those 3-4 days, we just kind of built those and created something that we loved. We sent them over to Frank, and we chose one. We went back and forth a lot once that record was, once we figured out the direction we want to go with. But in the studio, we just had a good time. We watched, like, you know, we listened to a lot of music that we were influenced by. We played stuff. We
sharing ideas, really.
Yeah.
You know.
Drink some rum.
We had a round of smoothies.
Yeah, we had smoothies.
I turned him on to the Vikings, you know, the movie with Tony Curtis and Kirk Douglas.
They made me watch an entire Tony Curtis movie from the 50s.
Because of the tune. Da, 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 da.
I learned a lot.
you learned a lot?
Yeah.
You watched the entire movie?
Yeah, on YouTube. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good. Frank Ocean, did you guys get a chance to work with him in the studio at all? Or
We didn't, but Wes did.
are you fans of his music?
I'm interested. He's an enigma, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, it was like that. I was interested. I heard his record, and I was very interested to do something. Yeah.
Okay, now you guys both play. And the producers, creative people often listen to what the other person is listening to. What do you like right now? What was it that they liked that surprised you?
Paul brought a lot of Western and East Indian music to, like, we listened to a lot of that. That was pretty much, I think I actually broke his iPod. He has like an iPod from like...
It's I am nothing. It's I am empty now. But fortunately I had a backup, so I was okay. But so yeah, we listened to a lot of music from sort of the 50s, 60s from sort of Pakistan or India. And sort of quite interesting mixes, blends of sort of Latin music combined with Ennio Morricone and obviously the indigenous music.
I think you can definitely hear like Ennio Morricone's kind of influence in the record that we made. It's somewhere between like doo-wop and punk and garage, and you know, Frank brings soul to it. So I love that it doesn't have a foothold in there. And I think that's what is great about the three of us as collaborators.